According to a 2016 NBC News study, over 36% of Americans identified as being clueless when changing their oil. I, in fact, was one of those people. However, during spring break of senior year, I worked at a local mechanic shop, and ever since then, I have been changing my friends' and family's oil. My goal for the end of this video is for the audience to know how to do a proper oil change without having any special qualifications. The process of changing a car's oil is divided into three main steps. The first is to drain the old oil, the second is to change the oil filter, and the third is to fill the car back up with the correct amount of oil. The correct prerequisites in order to do a proper oil change are a jack and jack stands, a funnel, a socket set, an oil drain pan, oil filter pliers, or in our case we use our bare hands, and paper towels. In addition, we will have to get the correct oil and the correct filter. We can find the correct filter size and the correct oil viscosity in the owner's manual. Once you figure out the correct oil and filter size, you will want to go to your local auto parts store. For the demonstration here, we needed 5W20 viscosity oil. The correct oil filter size for this vehicle was S3614. Once all the necessary materials are gathered, we will begin step 1 of the process. In order to change the oil in the car, we will have to jack the car up. According to Chris Fix, an automotive YouTuber, you must pull the handbrake and put a block behind the back wheel. In order to safely lift the car, you will want to place the jack directly underneath the frame. Once the vehicle is high enough off the ground, you will want to make sure to put a jack stand underneath the frame. You do not want the jack to hold the weight of the vehicle because it could possibly fail and lead to you possibly being hurt. Next, you will want to pop the hood of the vehicle. This is done early in order to inspect the engine and to locate the oil filter. In addition, it will increase the cleanliness of the interior because you will not have to touch the inside once your hands become dirty. It is now time to get underneath the vehicle. Once you are underneath the vehicle, you will want to locate the oil drain plug. 95% of the time, the drain plug will have a hexagonal shape, and that will be the plug that will have to be unscrewed. If you see another possible plug, do not unscrew it. Most consumer cars come with only one drain plug. We will now need to use the socket set. Locate the correct size socket and attach it to the ratchet. As you are loosening the drain plug, be mindful of the possible temperature of the oil. If the vehicle was recently driven, wait 5 to 10 minutes in order to allow for the vehicle to cool down. If the vehicle has not been driven in the past 3 hours, get out from underneath the vehicle and turn the engine on for 3 minutes so that the oil warms up. This allows for the oil to heat up and it will drain quicker. Here, you will need to use the oil drain pan. Once the oil has drained from the pan, we will want to secure the plug back into the oil pan. Using your hands, begin hand tightening the plug. Make sure that the plug threads line up with the oil pan threads. If the threads do not match up, do not continue tightening the plug. This will cause severe damage to the oil pan. It is now time to move to step 2. Move the oil drain pan so that it is underneath the oil filter. The oil filter will have a cylindrical shape and it will most often than not be brightly colored. In our demonstration, the oil filter was black. However, the new oil filter that we replaced was colored blue. Using your hands or oil filter pliers, remove the oil filter. Once the old oil filter is removed, we will need to fill the new oil filter with oil. Do not install the new oil filter when it is empty. If it is installed while empty, the engine will run dry for a couple seconds until the filter fills up with oil. In addition, make sure to lubricate the black gasket that is on the filter. This will allow the oil filter to be removed easily during a future oil change. Once the oil filter is properly prepared for installation, hand tighten the oil filter onto the oil filter adapter. Finally, we move on to the last step of the process. It is time to fill the car back up with oil. Locate the oil cap in the engine bay. Most often, it will have an oil symbol on it along with the correct oil viscosity for the engine. Using the owner's manual, we found that the engine along with the oil filter requires 5.3 quarts of oil. After you fill the engine up with oil, check the underside of the car for any leaks. You have now completed a proper oil change. However, there are a couple of finishing touches that have to be made. First, using the jack, lift the car up so that the jack stand can be removed. Next, we will want to turn on the engine and allow the car to run for about 2 minutes. This will allow for the oil to spread. Turn the car off and wait 5 minutes so that the oil can settle to the bottom. As you are waiting, take the oil drain pan and pour the old oil into the oil jug. You can take the oil jug to your local auto parts store and they will recycle it for free. Do not pour the oil down the drain. In order to double check the amount of oil in the engine, you will need to use the oil dipstick. Remove it from the engine and wipe it down. You do not want to use the first sample to make the measurement because after the engine shut off, the oil drained to the bottom and covered the whole bottom of the dipstick. Reinsert the dipstick and pull it back out. Locate the top of the oil line. If the oil line is close to the top end of the dipstick, there is enough oil in the engine. If it is not close to the top, add a quart of additional oil. To conclude, the process of changing the oil in a car has 3 steps. The first step is to drain the old oil from the engine. The second step is to replace the oil filter, and the final step is to add the correct oil back into the engine. I would like to leave you guys with one last tip on how often oil changes should be done. According to a 2019 Car and Driver article, oil changes should be done every 3 to 5,000 miles. I hope that after this video, you are able to change your own oil in your car and save a few bucks.